Welcome back to another edition of Inside Wyoming Cowboys Athletics here on wyomingathletics.org and ESP Media powered by Sidearm Sports. I'm Jason Griefer. Jeff King joining us as always here on the program, coming off of an Easter Sunday where it was very nice outside. You wish you could have gotten some games in. And now, Jeff, apparently outside the windows of Wyoming High School, there is snow coming down. Why?
It is one interesting spring to start. That's for sure. I feel for these kids and teams. I mean, really not just us, all around the city. We're trying to get games in when we can, but right now, as I look out the window and I see what looks like a wintry mix of stuff coming down, it's a great day right here.
How just of an annoyance is it that we're in the middle of April and you look outside and there are snowflakes falling and it might affect some games being played later today, and one of your first things to do when you come in is to start thinking, okay, I probably need to start contacting some other ADs to see what's going on today?
Yeah, you try to prep for it and you try to look at the forecast at least a week in advance for what they show you. But I mean, truly, you never know what's going to happen, the next day. So it's just something that's always on the radar. I've been looking at it since yesterday, with the weather and everything. And we were prepared for it. All of our coaches kind of knew that it could be a day like that, but we'll get out on the field, see what we can do and try to make something happen. But if not, we work with some great ADs around the city. We'll get it rescheduled.
Are you at the point yet where you cringe when you see a call or a text and the ID pop up from another AD around the area? Does it get to that point where it's like, you're at that point yet where it's like, oh, great, here we go again?
It's just like, hey, well, it's spring season. We just can't wait for what seems to be like the 2 good weeks that you get every spring season at the very end. But hey, we're adaptable. We'll do what we can.
Well, folks, while you're enjoying some terrible weather out on a Monday, you can go on chlsports.com. Our guest here today is the featured administrator this week on chlsports.com, and you can get a little bit of a background information about Jeff and his rise in the administrative ranks to where he's at now and also where he's going in the future. And we'll talk about that down the road. Again, chlsports.com, and it's a nice profile picture that got of you too. So that's just as important to put a face with all the stuff that you're doing. But anywho, let's get on and let's talk about some of your athletic teams here. And let's start on the diamond with your baseball team first. And off to a slow start in the league, 1-2. Again, it's early and we're still trying to squeeze in as many games as we can. But as of now, we're talking this week, and 2 big ones coming up, particularly with Taylor this week. I know we've got a game scheduled with Reading later on today on Monday. We'll see if that happens or not, if that has to get moved and what have you. But Taylor's a big one, and they've been a very good program for a long time in the league. And they're also 3-0 this year in the league thus far. So they're trying to get back to the top spot after your team claimed the title a year ago. Taylor's trying to make it 4 in 5 years. Do you feel like there's any added pressure with the guys, any extra heightened sense of excitement or what have you, knowing that these 2 games are the only 2 times they're going to see Taylor on the season, and it's going to be their only shot to directly affect them in the conference standings?
I mean, we're really excited about it, especially coming off, we already played Indian Hill. We got a tough game scheduled against Reading, but we did get, we ended up getting a nice win on Friday up at Dayton, Dragons Air Ballpark up there in Dayton, beating Versailles. So hopefully we can build on that and come through and capitalize on a big week for us. It's going to be tough. We have to go out to Taylor, then, our home games at Prasco Park. So, you lose the home field advantage there, but we're ready to play wherever. We played an away game, a home game, I should say, up in Dayton just on Friday, and we capitalize on that. So hopefully we can build up on that.
Do the players even care at this point where they play with so many movements and cancellations and postponements?
I mean, it's really like, hey, where can we get a game in? Who has a field ready that's playable? We were talking last week. I was talking with Deer Park's AD Greg Huster on moving games around, where we had to move Deer Park to our place. We had to move our softball game to Indian Hill, and then Deer Park had another softball game where they had to host a team where they were supposed to go to. So it's just all about working the schedule, working with each other, and just getting in where we can.
Over on the softball side of things, they're also going to get Taylor twice this week, and this is as big as you could get at this point in the season. Both teams 3-0. Both teams have outscored their opponents by a combined 97 runs through 3 games. You've outscored opponents 47-5, Taylor 56-1 through the front three. So both teams are swinging the bats well. Both teams are also pitching well. Where do you feel like in a two-game set like this, the more pressure lies on the offense to swing the bats well, or on your pitching staff to limit what Taylor has done early in conference play?
Well, we know we're going to have to put up some points because that, Taylor swings the bat very well, but they have excellent pitching. So it's something where our defense is going to have to be really stout, on the mound, playing really well. But we're pretty confident about that. We love where we're at with softball. They're playing tough. It's a great example of a team that, like we just talked about, they don't care where they play, when they play. They just want to play as many games as possible, and they've been super adaptable. So we're really proud of that team, and it's big matchups coming up against Taylor. But as long as we keep doing what we can, we know we have a good shot.
How do you feel like Natalie Barth has been throwing the ball as of late? I know she's tied for the league in wins with 4 right now. Do you feel like she's really emerging as that top ace that the coaches thought she could be?
Oh yeah, I think she's exceeding expectations. She came into a role that was Naomi Evans did such a good job for us last year. This is something where she knows she has big shoes to fill, but she's doing a great job taking that leadership role and providing some great play for us on the mound. So she pitches well, the defense behind her plays well, and we can keep getting bats on balls. We feel pretty good about that team.
Switching gears, and another team that's going to be in action later on tonight, and assuming weather cooperates well enough, and it looks like it will, is your boys lacrosse team, and they're going to get Seven Hills tonight out at the stadium. That'll be a 6:30 opening draw. We're actually going to carry that game on WatchHSSports.tv. I'll be out there to call that one. Your team's coming off a nice win against Bellbrook on Friday, particularly in the second half, shutting them out in the second half. You're down 4-3. I believe at the half, you come back and win 7-4. So really strong performance from your defense right there. So that they're carrying that going into tonight. For fans who have not had the opportunity to see this team in person yet, if they're tuning in on WatchHSSports.tv for this game tonight, what kind of game can they expect to see from the Cowboys as they do battle with Seven Hills?
Well, we're definitely going to look to build off of the game on Friday night. Jackson Palermo in goal played so well. Seth Thompson on defense, and then moving the ball up and down the field. There were just some really exciting exchanges between Coleman Jeffers, Dozier Ambrose. One where Dozier took it all the way up the field and made a great pass to Coleman, and then he just put it right in the top corner of the net. That's just a play that really stood out last week. They like to play fast. They play hard. We're a tough group, but they're really playing unselfish as well, where just taking that play an example, the first thing that Coleman said as he came off after a huge goal was, man, what a pass that was to Dozier Ambrose, giving the credit up to his teammate. And they're just, that game was a big step for us, especially, we talk about it. We have this home game, but then we have a nice stretch of road games. So we're going to try to build off of that one, playing a tough Seven Hills team. And, we're excited about the way they're playing.
Well, isn't it also slated to be senior night tonight because you've got so many on the road coming up?
It's a nice early senior night for the boys. So, it's going to be senior night. We're actually going to recognize the youth lax program as well. So that's exciting for them. So we're excited and hoping to put on a good show tonight.
How important is the relationship between the high school programs and the high school kids and the youth to kind of get that next generation ready to go when the time comes that they enter the halls at Wyoming? How important is it to have that relationship between the kids in the building where you're at and the younger group?
Well, I think we're starting to see it, hopefully build on it with lacrosse, but across all sports. Lacrosse is a good example where you kind of look at the top of the hill where it's at Marymount. They have such a great youth program over there. We would like to be able to, build on that, just like our football team does. And then, with our boys and girls soccer programs, running camps for the youth around Wyoming. It's something where we're trying to get more and more involved, and it's great opportunities for our high school kids to go coach, put on camps, show what they can do with those young guys and gals, and then they come in and watch them, and they're super excited to watch the high schoolers play.
Over on the girls' side, we've talked here on the show in the past couple of weeks about all the time they've spent on the road, and it was 8 straight games in a row on the road for the team, and they wind up winning the last 2. And we'll get to touch on that in just a moment, but overall finished 5-3 on that 8-game stretch. That's pretty darn good given the competition that you face. You get road wins against Ursuline, against Anderson, Walnut, Kings. I was there to call the thriller against CHCA. Your team was in control for much of that game. CHCA definitely made a run late, but you held off them for a 13-12 win. And as I said, you followed up with the 14-10 win at Kings. So playing very, very well. I want to focus on those last two games, though, because we've talked here in the past on the program about Victoria Chesson and how big she is for the program and how you've said it. She's the leader. She's the bulldog on this team. She is the alpha that everybody seems to follow. She wasn't the main focus, though, I thought, in the last two games against CHCA and Kings. And I mean that by this point. You've scored 27 goals in those two games. She put 3 in each time. She only hit 6 of the 27. I was very impressed when I saw the team in person against CHCA about the balance of the team. And we talked about other players needing to step up, take that pressure off of her so she doesn't feel the need to go out and score 5, 6, 7 goals every time out. How important do you think is that development for this team to get those contributions, to take the weight off Victoria, knowing the run you've got coming up with 8 of the last 9 at home, starting on Tuesday with Summit and then Thursday against Turpin?
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that just loves to play together, and they're very unselfish all the way, from defense, and Ainsley banking at goal, that they rely so much on her as well, on her play. But Victoria knows that she has a big target on her back. She's going to go play at the next level. She had a great junior campaign last season. So her leadership is kind of spread throughout the rest of the girls, where they know, hey, we have a lot of girls in this team that play great defense, great offense, put the ball in the net, and spread it around. And Coach Crawford's doing a really good job getting them prepared to play as a team, that hitting a nice stride right here, like you said, with the last two, going into a nice home campaign now as well. Tough matches this week, but they love playing a tough schedule. So it's something we're really excited about, watching them playing as a team. I can't wait to get them back home. I think we mentioned, I feel like we should have a homecoming parade or something for them with all the road games that they've had. But, so they definitely deserve a nice home stretch.
You're in an administrative role. Can't you set that up?
Well, hey, we're excited. We're definitely trying to get as many people there as we can to cheer them on, and you get them the well-deserved crowd support.
You look at the way the box score is shaping up, especially, as I said, these last two games where you put up 27. You're looking at multiple players with 2 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals across the board. There's not one particular player that's standing out, leaping off the page. How important and how much tougher do you think that makes your team to game plan for, as other teams see the tape of the last couple of games and realize, okay, it's not just Victoria. They've got so many other players that can put the ball in the net. And as you mentioned, right now, the CHL leader in saves, Ainsley Benkin, in goal.
Yeah, I mean, they have to be able to prepare for everybody, and they know that Victoria can obviously still be the leader there, but she can spread the ball around, and the girls do such a great job going back to just playing very unselfishly. So it's something that we strive ourselves to be a hard team to game plan against, especially with the tough schedule that we have. And knowing that they have to prepare for 3, 4, 5 different girls that can put the ball in the net, it's a really good position to be in.
And again, in that home stretch, 8 of the last 9 to finish out the regular season starts on Tuesday against Summit. So make sure you get out there. If you can't make it out there Tuesday, get out Thursday. They'll be there against Turpin as well. Switching gears, and let's talk about your track and field programs. They were both up at Mount Healthy last week. Both finished 5th in that competition as a group. Obviously, some standouts there individually in particular. I think another school record or 2 fell during that time out there. But so we keep rewriting record books. We keep doing the right things in that regard, keep building momentum with strong finishes in team competitions as well as individual accomplishments as well. We look at the way things are shaping up now, slated to go up to Lakota West later on this week. That's always a big deal, going to a big Division I program like that. They always host a lot of teams, a lot of quality programs up there too. But even beyond that, we're about a month away from the postseason. And so I'm curious to know how close the coaches are to beginning that tapering process with your athletes, so that by the time the postseason arrives, they are not worn down and they can be at their best to perform and try and go as deep as you would like them to go. How close are we to that tapering point?
They do a really good job of doing it, a couple of weeks out from the tournament. We have a really tough matchup, like you said, to meet with a lot of really good schools going out to Lakota West. But the Mount Healthy meet was a really good way to prepare for that. We knew that there were going to be some really fast teams, some really good field event teams out there. So coming away fifth for both of our boys and girls there, we're proud of what we're doing as a team, but individually as well. And we definitely have some groups, that we think can hopefully get through districts, get through regionals, and then, we'll see what happens up at state. But being able to compete in these really tough matchups with some bigger schools, it's something that's been really good for a lot of our competitors.
You look at the way things are shaping up right now on both sides of things. We talked about, Addie Hamilton and kind of what she's done, but both and some school records she's set as well. But also I can't help but mention Joel Allen and what he's done with, breaking your school records with the in the field events. You look at the way things shape out as far as the league goes right now with the shot put. He's 8 feet clear of the field in the shot put, and the discus. Let's see, as I'm looking at the chlsports.com, he's only 42 feet clear of the field in the discus throw as far as the league high at this point. Are you looking at, can you point to one particular side of things? Do you feel like you've got a better shot at track or maybe the field events as far as athletes or relay teams or what have you, making that deep run into the regionals or even to the state and possibly even a state champion here? Do you feel like you've got an edge one way or the other right there? Or do you feel like maybe you've got the quality all the way around that you can get, both discus and shot put throwers in there, Addie on the pole vault, and some runners in there too?
I mean, yeah, we definitely, we're proud of, especially, what Joel's doing, what Addie's doing, Zoe Mayberry, but, we have some runners, Nico Araje, Emma Bergman, but then even Zoe on the sprinting events, Sam Prangley's doing a pretty good job sprinting as well. We have some groups that I think are going to start to hit better strides, as we get a little bit more consistency as well with our meets, which hopefully weather can kind of cooperate for them as well, because we've had some cancellations on, the track and field side too. But, going back to Joel Allen, I think we talked about that. I told him before, those school records and shot put and discus, they're going to be his at some point in time. And I'm excited to see when those will fall. His discus right now is just unbelievable. And his shot put leading, he's building off great performances from last year. And he knows that he has a big target on his back in the league. But then going forward, I know that he wants to compete at an even higher level with districts, regionals, and finally breaking through to get to state. Addie is as tough as they come in competition, and she's really, really honed in on pole vault. So we're excited to see what she can do. She's only a sophomore, so the future is very bright for her.
You look at the way they're going. Is Nico Araje, I believe he won a distance run at Mount Healthy, so he's running very well. Do you feel like they are peaking at where you want them to, as far as hitting that peak right at the point of tapering and then backing off? Do they feel like they're close to that point, still have room to go before the tapering process begins?
Yeah, I think there's still a little bit room to go, especially with a meet like Lakota West that we have coming up. It's such a great school that hosts a ton of different big schools there. So the competition is going to be super high. It's going to be a good marker of where we're at and where we want to be once it comes time for the postseason. So they're going to keep competing and trying to set high marks, trying to win events, and we're excited to watch them do so.
Switching gears, let's talk about your tennis team. And they've got a couple of road trips coming up here with a Summit and Moeller this week, with a home match against Taylor kind of sandwiched in between on Wednesday. We kind of reached kind of the midway point of the season, and there's been some matches played very well. Other times, the other side's gotten the better of you, and that's just the way kind of things go, especially when you see Indian Hill on the schedule in your league. That's always a tough one for sure. But because starting to head now and make that turn towards the back half of the regular season. We got the Coaches Classic coming up in less than 2 weeks, and then the postseason really ramps up from there. How have the coaches evaluated the progress of this team to this point from where they were at the beginning of the regular season?
I keep getting updates and everything from different matches from Coach Tom Tobias and Tony Brock, and they love the way that we're competing against some pretty tough schools. Going back to Oakwood, I know we fell in that match, but it's something where we're playing really tough tennis against some good schools, and we have some tough tennis to play in our own league. This is going to be a big week for us. That's another team that's had to really adapt because of the weather. New coaches, it's something where going through in this back half of the season, it's crazy how fast tennis starts and then how fast it ends. So, they have to adjust pretty quickly, but they're doing a good job doing that. We like where we're at and playing that tough competition. And, coach said, hey, tough competition builds a good program. So we're going to keep playing those tough schools, and going into the Coaches Classic, we really hope that we can rattle off a couple wins here going into it.
How important is the schedule making process in trying to build up for the postseason? You look at the way the schedule shake out. You've got a lot of heavy hitting Division I programs on this schedule. You look, obviously St. X, you got Moeller on there. The light goes on. Obviously, we talked about Indian Hill in the league, and they're a whole another animal unto itself. How important is the assembly of the schedule for tennis, given that there are so few days off once the season gets going? As you alluded to, the regular season flies by in the blink of an eye. The assembly of that schedule to get them ready in such a short period of time to try to get, a single or a double through the districts and even beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make sure that you pepper in some really tough competition so that they know what they're going to have to face when it comes postseason time. And our coaches do a great job of doing that, letting me know who they want to play and the big schools that they want to play. It's a tough challenge a lot of times, especially for our tennis program, to go out and find those different schools. But they're up to that task. And like I said, they know that the tough competition is going to build a better program. These coaches are looking to really build on for years to come in making Wyoming hopefully to compete, with the likes, like you said, of Indian Hill. But, you go and you play a Moeller and, a St. X and compete at the Coaches Classic. That's something where throughout the whole season, you got to have those tough competition and those schools scheduled, because, you're going to play some great tennis players.
Doesn't seem to matter the sport at Wyoming. They're going to schedule as tough as they can. Don't like to just load up on the empty wins, so to speak. So we always see tough competition, no matter the sport we talk about. That'll continue tonight out at the stadium for boys lacrosse when they take on Seven Hills. Again, fans can watch that. If you can't get out there and watch hssports.tv, 6:30 opening draw. I'll be out there on the call of that one, and we'll see what happens there. And once again, another great week at Wyoming, Jeff. Certainly appreciate the time, and looking forward to continuing to talk about it and hopefully not talk about Mother Nature in the next couple of weeks.
I appreciate it, Jason. Always a good time. Looking forward to seeing you tonight.
Absolutely. That is Jeff King once again joining us here on the Inside Wyoming Cowboys Athletics podcast here on WyomingAthletics.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.